A brand new season of competitive Pokemon Champions has begun, and while we haven't had a rule set switch, we do have an entire season's worth of data to go back and look at in order to give us a good overview as to what is good in the game and what is not so good. In honor of this brand new season, I want to kick it off with a Season 2 tier list. Today we'll be ranking all the Pokemon in Pokemon Champions based on whether they're viable, not viable, or just maybe you shouldn't even look into using them at all. This will be a more relaxing video you can put on while you're playing Minecraft or something. Let's just go ahead and get right into it. If you guys enjoy, leave a like, subscribe, check out the Patreon, become a YouTube channel member, hype the video, all of that. And hey, you definitely want to subscribe because at 300,000 subscribers, I'll be ranking every bench in Lumio City. Let's just begin. All right, starting off with Venusaur. Here's the thing. This tier list does not have mega forms, and it's like the only template I found that like had every Pokemon correct. So we're going to be ranking all the Pokemon, right? Based off of how good they are. And if they have a base form, I'll talk about their base form. Or if they're like a mega Pokemon with like a base form that sees usage, I will talk about the base form and then like explain how good the mega is. But we'll basically rank them off of their best version. Like Sableye, I'm not going to rank it off of Mega Sableye. I'm going to rank it off of Sableye, but I will mention Mega Sableye. The tiers are going to be S, A, B, C, D, and F. And I have made them much more easier to understand because people get really mad at me when I rank things. Not because I'm wrong, but because they think I'm wrong. Because that's so goofy. Yeah, but basically, I'm going to explain my criteria. The best S tier is you see them every single game, basically. They're on like 90% of teams, and they're going to be what dominates the metagame based on like strength, right? Like they're just the strongest Pokemon in the game. A is going to be, these are meta Pokemon. You see them on a ton of teams. And while they might be on like every single team, they're not like broken. Like S basically means they are broken. B is going to be things that are strong, but not necessarily meta. C are going to be things that are more niche. D is going to be Pokemon that are extremely difficult to use, but you could make a case for them. And F is basically just, they're not worth running. They're not strong. And yeah. So let's go ahead and get into it. We'll begin with Venusaur and Mega Venusaur. And while Venusaur is strong, I'm going to rank it off of Mega Venusaur, which I'm going to put it in B tier. Mega Venusaur is pretty good right now. It's seen a couple of variations in usage. Actually, I'm going to pause it and bring up Lab Mouse so I can show you guys some like cool example teams. Okay, cool. Got it up. So yeah, Venusaur has seen mostly usage next to Archaludon teams right now, but they also do see usage on Charizard teams, right? And usually like the Sun variant, if we look at this is a team that got first place in a just random tournament on Showdown. But it's going to be like a Focus Sash Heatwave sort of, or Focus Sash Venusaur on like a Sun team. It's just meant to go for like Sleep Powder and stuff. That is good and all, but the most common version of Mega Venusaur at this moment, or the most common version of Venusaur at this moment is Mega Venusaur. I don't believe this one's going to be a Mega Venusaur. Yes, that is a weird one. But if we look at a Mega Venusaur team, this is what you typically see it on. It's going to be on rain teams right now. This one got first place as well. It is a Mega Venusaur with Sludge Bomb, Earth Power, Giga Drain, and Protect, and it's being ran on a rain team with Sableye and Archaludon. Typically, the Sableye will run screens to help out the Archaludon, but like that variant of Venusaur is pretty good. It has decent matchups into some of the top threats in the metagame. Like if Rain is up, it does wall out Charizard. It does have good physical bulk, which means it can deal well with like Garchomp and Sneasler and stuff. But into a Aerodactyl, yeah, Mega Venusaur doesn't have like the best time, but it does have like it can kind of like win the interaction if it has the right tools next to it. But Venusaur is just generally strong. And there are a lot of Pokemon to talk about here. Some of them I might talk about a lot longer than other Pokemon. Some of them might be like one sentence, and that's just because that's like the nature of competitive Pokemon. Some Pokemon are just more worth talking about than others because there's more to talk about. Charizard, that is S tier. I don't care if people don't think Charizard is broken. Here's the fact of the matter. Mega Charizard Y is what carries Charizard. I could put Mega Charizard X on here too, but I'm just talking about like the Pokemon as a whole right now, I guess. Because there is no Mega Charizard X on this tier list. Okay, so if I look up Charizard, we'll see a wide variety of teams, right? have to get rid of Venusaur on the filter. But Charizard Y has some pretty phenomenal stats. That is basically the only Charizard that we see beyond like certain Charizard X teams. But yeah, it has 100 speed, 159 special attack. It sets up Drought. It enables a lot of different ways of playing the game. But basically with Sun active, you're able to have like a partner Venusaur next to it, which is strong, but not like the most common way to play it. Most Charizard teams are like the Charizard Mega Aerodactyl dual teams right now, where you can kind of pick one or the other as a way to play it. I actually have an example team right here. Yeah, right here. This is David Carrera's team. We see that like Charizard is able to play a very offensive role as its Heat Waves deal major damage and chunk the entire team in range of endgame Pokemon like Basculegion and Kingambit. And while Charizard might have like a pretty negative matchup into Garchomp and Aerodactyl, which are some of the best Pokemon in the game right now, you need to keep in mind that like it's not meant to deal with these Pokemon. It's meant to deal with every other Pokemon in the game. It can, you know, OHKO a Sneasler with Weather Ball. It can OHKO a Kingambit with Heat Wave. It doesn't like facing off against Basculegion, but if you do get a Tailwind up and it's not a Scarf Basculegion, or if it's not like a Scarf Basculegion, like your Solar Beam is going to one-shot it. So yeah, like Charizard is basically just like the premier spread special attacker that has ridiculous damage output. It kind of plays like a Chi-Yu in older, I want to say older formats, but I mean like Gen 9 was only a couple of weeks ago. But yeah, it plays like a Gen 9 Chi-Yu kind of. You just like chunk things as hard as you can. It pairs well with Pokemon like, you know, it pairs well with Pokemon like Sneasler, Whimsicott, because Whimsicott can like reset Sun for it and encore things into Protect if they try to Protect into the Charizard. But yeah, Charizard is just ridiculously strong. It's just ability to get things in range of everything else on the team is what makes it good. And like its ability to synergize with the same Pokemon as like Mega Aerodactyl and like have them cover for matchups that the other one doesn't want to deal with is just a testament to like Charizard's strength. So yeah. Blastoise, I'm gonna put in niche. Mega Blastoise is not a bad Pokemon. That being said, it's not like a meta-defining Pokemon because Blastoise has really only seen use on a couple of team archetypes. Let me put the Blastoise Knight on it. And basically it's just like soft Tailwind Trick Room archetypes. Yeah, basically it's like Water Spout next to Farigiraf and stuff. We can see that a Blastoise did pretty well in, I don't know, we'll go with the Game Corner Showdown number 3. It got second place. I don't know the size of these tournaments. These are just random tournaments. But yeah, it typically runs just Fake Out, Water Spout. Usually you put like a second water move on it, like Water Pulse, but Dark Pulse and Aura Sphere are also quite good. It does pair well with Farigiraf because this thing's able to go for Fake Out, and then Farigiraf Trick Room's next to it. It goes for Rain Dance before the Blastoise moves, and then Water Spout comes out and deals major damage. It also pairs well with Pelipper, of course, because you can auto-set Rain and then get Tailwind off and stuff. But Blastoise is more seen as like a niche, I don't want to say gimmick Pokemon because I wouldn't call Water Spout a gimmick per se. I mean, it is the thing that it's known for, but it's not like the strongest thing ever. It has some good matchups. I mean, like an ability to one-shot Kingambit if they're not Choppleberry with like Aura Sphere is nice. The ability to play well into opposing weather teams because you can just manually set Rain with your Farigiraf or your Pelipper is going to be really good. And yeah, I guess synergy with like Trick Room options like Kingambit and Sinistcha does mean that like Blastoise can play a little bit more consistently, but it's not like the strongest Pokemon ever. It is definitely in the niche tier. Beedrill, yeah, Mega Beedrill's not worth it. It has terrible bulk. It does deal with like fairy types pretty well, but the issue is there's only 2 fairy types in the game that are relevant right now, and Mega Beedrill, like there's other ways of dealing with them. Sneasler is basically like a less expensive Mega Beedrill that like also hits a ridiculous speed tier because of Unburden. It kind of just puts Mega Beedrill out of the job, to be honest. It's just not a very valuable Pokemon right now, and I'm not even sure if it even gets Tailwind in MA. Does it get Tailwind? Yeah, no, there's like practically no purpose to a Mega Beedrill right now. Same goes with Pidgeot. I'm probably not going to be ranking them too much within the tiers, at least like in B tier and below. They're just going to be there. But yeah, Pidgeot is not great. Mega Pidgeot, it is practically a Pokemon without an ability, and you might think like, oh yeah, no, Pidgeot does have an ability because it has no guard. It can never miss its Hurricanes. That's cool. You know who else never misses its Hurricanes? Pelipper, Mega Dragonite on rain teams. And like Pidgeot, like it's just gonna be Hurricane, Heat Wave, Tailwind, and like Protect, maybe like Hyper Voice or Hyper Beam or something like weird. it just doesn't hit anything for super effective damage. And like, while it does have a good speed tier in 121, you have to keep in mind that like Sneasler's right behind it. Sneasler's like right there. There's a lot of Pokemon that enter that speed tier with just like a little bit of a boost. So yeah, Pidgeot, it doesn't have the damage output really. Like Hurricane's strong, but not off a 135 special attack. Like Dragonite, Mega Dragonite, right? That thing's got 145 special attack and it's a dragon type. It has a better defensive profile. So yeah. Arbok is, I'm not going to say not worth it. I do want to maybe say not worth it, but I don't want to, it's more like a never say never sort of thing. I'm going to put it in difficult just because of Aerodactyl can make it work as like a redirection Pokemon that resists both of Sneasler's moves. I'm going to say that Arbok can too. It does have Intimidate and Glare, and those are pretty okay tools, but like its stats aren't good. Pikachu, that's super niche. It only works with the Light Ball because it doubles Pikachu's special attack stat. It does have Fake Out and stuff, so it's definitely niche. Like I have been terrified of Pikachu in the past, and Raichu's like in a similar boat. I'll actually put Raichu just above it because Raichu's speed tier is much better. Pikachu is basically offensive Raichu at the exchange of your item and speed. Raichu is also offensive. I mean, it has like 95 special attack or 90 special attack, but Pikachu effectively has like 160 or something after the Light Ball. Fake Out, Nuzzle, Lightning Rod, those are all pretty useful tools, especially in a metagame where Archaldon's kind of running around, but it's not particularly great. I'm gonna put Alolan Raichu in difficult. This channel is partnered with Gamersubs. If you want to support my work and get great tasting drinks, you can order Gamersubs through my link in the description down below or with code MoxieBoosted at checkout for 10% off. Gamersubs is a caffeinated product that I recommend only to my 18+ viewers, but my link will send you to their caffeine-free product section just in case. Every product purchased through my link supports my channel financially, so I'd really appreciate the support. Now back to the video. It's not bad, right? It's not a bad Pokemon, but Alolan Raichu having almost the same stats as like base Raichu, but like also having access to Psychic, but not a good ability because Surge Surfer is never going to activate in this metagame, means that it is kind of like a weird Pokemon. It does get Fake Out Encore, and you can run like either Protect or you can run either Protect or Psychic because you do need Thunderbolt in this metagame. But yeah, I would say that like Alolan Raichu is pretty eh. I don't want to put Clefable in strong because you hardly ever see it, but it's definitely like top of niche. It's a good Pokemon. It's got redirection tools, it's got coverage, it has everything it needs. Mega Clefable's pretty useless. You're mostly going to be using it for base Clefable for unaware redirection. But yeah, like Clefable's fine. Clefable's fine. I might even put it in strong, like bottom of strong, but it's not like the most useful redirection Pokemon right now because there are so many Pokemon that do threaten it. I would say that like, you know, Sneasler being on every team is like a huge downside for Clefable at this moment, but beyond that, it is pretty okay. I kind of want to put it in strong. I don't think it's like the strongest, but yeah. We'll put Ninetales in niche. It is a Heat Wave Pokemon with access to manual or with automatic sun because of drought. That's not like super in demand right now, but it's not bad. And if we're putting that one in niche, we are definitely going to put Alolan Ninetales in strong. I'll put it in niche, actually. It's the best niche Pokemon. I'll give it that. It's like the best niche Pokemon, but I might bump it up later on. It's just that like Frostlass kind of does everything Alolan Ninetales wants to do. And it's like getting harder and harder for Alolan Ninetales to play the game because like other weathers are just better right now, especially with Sableye running around. Sableye just resetting rain for every Pokemon, making like not only Ninetales but like Mega Frostlass's life just awful right now. So yeah. Base Arcanine, also quite niche. I'm gonna put, man, I kind of want to put like this Arcanine in strong, even though I almost never see it. I just can't put it lower than that. But the Arcanines, basically, they're doing the same thing. It's just that, like, Hisuian Arcanine, I think I called it Alolan Arcanine a second ago, but Hisuian Arcanine has Stab Rock Slide, and Rock Slide's the best move in the game right now, obviously. We all talk about that. But yeah, it has access to Extreme Speed, a pretty good attack stat, Intimidate support, Will-O-Wisp, a bunch of other really cool stuff. Base Arcanine has, like, the same thing going on. You could argue that it's better defensively because it doesn't have, like, that rock typing, but in this game, you mostly want like a good offensive profile. So like Stab on Rock Slide is like really, really nice. You are like in bigger danger of Garchomp stuff, but it's nothing that like an Arcanine player can't play around. Yeah. Alakazam and Mega Alakazam, I'm gonna put that one in difficult, and that's just because like Mega Alakazam, it is the only Pokemon that infiltrates the speed tier of Mega Aerodactyl, which is considered one of the best Pokemon in the game right now. But it's not doing anything with it. It has Trace, which is cool, but it's not going to be doing anything with the speed tier that like is substantial. It does hit hard, but there's no automatic Psychic Train. It's all manual, so like using Mega Alakazam is just a real tough time for anyone who wants to try it. Machamp, I'm also gonna put that in difficult. You could even argue it's like pretty close to bottom of niche. And the reason I want to make that case is because Machamp has some good tools. It has like a really good attack set. I don't think it's bad. Like it's got access to Wide Guard. It has Guts and No Guard, which could be good. I'd say that like Guts is probably the better of the two abilities right now. But No Guard means that you can't miss a Dynamic Punch. That's obviously quite awesome. It has coverage moves like Ice Punch, and like you could run like Protect as your final move or even Bullet Punch. I don't think that Machamp's a bad Pokemon. I just think that like the use case for it is pretty limited right now. So I'm gonna put it in like niche. I don't think it's bad at all. Victory Bell, that is difficult, bordering on not worth it. I'm gonna say not worth it. Maybe bottom of difficult. You can make the case for Sleep Powder Victory Bell. Like, it's cool that it can play, like, a support role before it Mega Evolves, and then Mega Evolves, and then, like, use Innards out as, like, its only, like, actual tool. But, yeah, I'm gonna say that Mega Victory Bell's pretty eh. Slowbro and Mega Slowbro. Not even, like, niche. It's got one thing going for it. I'm gonna say bottom of niche. Yeah, I'm pretty, by the way, I'm pretty, like, generous with the niche ones because I use so many weird Pokemon. I'll put niche for like a lot of things. It's if something's in difficult and below, that's how you know that it's a bad Pokemon, because I don't even want to give it a chance. But yeah, so Mega Slowbro, it really only has like one thing going on right now, and that's the sets that are doing like baton passing a bunch of like stat boosts into it, and then like going for stored power and body press. Like that's kind of cool, and like if you do get away with it, like you can like take a game, but it's so gimmicky that it's not going to really do much for you in the long run. So yeah, same with like Galarian Slowbro. It does have the quick draw thing going on for it, but it's like pretty bad. I don't think it's like the worst. I don't think it's the worst Trick Room setter, right? It does have like a pretty decent offensive move pool. It has access to like Flamethrower and Ice Beam and all this random stuff, so you can make the case for it. But I think that like overall, like Galarian Slowbro is just kind of eh. That being said, like it is like kind of useful in certain things. Like if you do want like a coverage mon, you could get a lot worse than like Galarian Slowbro, because that quick draw set's like pretty difficult to deal with. Gengar, I'm gonna put Gengar in strong. Mega Gengar is very, very good. I don't think it's meta right now. Perish Trap just hasn't been seeing the same results that it used to. Matter of fact, let me pull up the VR Tour results. Yeah, like Mega Gengar used to be pretty strong, but the issue is that like I said, like the format is just getting like more hostile to it. You typically just want to run things. The thing that made Mega Gengar so strong was really its speed tier, and like as soon as people started picking up on the fact that you could just run Mega Aerodactyl, and now you can just Tailwind in front of like Mega Gengar's face and then like attack with the Garchomp and not have to play any speed ties or anything, it does make it like really difficult for it to deal with. On top of that, Pokemon like Basculegion and Kingambit are kind of running the roost right now. So yeah, you can see like the top placing Mega Gengar was 16th place in this tournament, and then like the next placing one, like it didn't even make day 2. So it's like kind of not in a good spot right now. Mega Gengar, that being said, is a very strong Pokemon, and I think that it's like kind of dumb to say that it's bad. You know, I don't think it's like great, but it's not like, well, no, it is great, but it's not like the best, you know. I wouldn't even put it in meta right now. It's not really like moving like that. Mega Kangaskhan's a weird one to rank because I do want to put it in strong, right? It's not like a bad Pokemon, but like I would argue that like the use case for Mega Kangaskhan is a little lower than usual. I think maybe it did okay in like the VR Tour. I'm not sure if there was any Mega Kangaskhan, to be honest. Yeah, I'm not seeing Mega Kangaskhan anywhere. There was a few that did okay in the Scraw Tour, the Grand Champions Festival. But as for right now, like Mega Kangaskhan is kind of falling off a little bit, and that's because like once again, like Pokemon like Sneasler, Kingambit, and like Garchomp, those are all like pretty good Pokemon into Mega Kangaskhan for a variety of different reasons. Sneasler obviously can like one-shot Mega Kangaskhan, but like Mega Kangaskhan does not like having to deal with like rough skin into a Dragon Claw from like from Garchomp, and even into Kingambit. If you're not rocking low kick or some kind of fighting coverage, like Kingambit is able to pretty effectively wall out a Kangaskhan. So it's more like Kangaskhan is like, it's not that it can't deal with all those Pokemon, because it does have coverage options, but it's just that it's being pulled in so many different directions that it's pretty niche right now. It's like not bad, but it's not good. I'm gonna say Mega Pinsir is difficult. It's definitely not worth it, but it lost access to Double Edge, and Aerialate Double Edge was kind of its whole deal. I guess it was technically Aerialate Return, but losing Double Edge is really, really bad for it, because now it just doesn't have any damage. Body Slam is not hitting as hard as you hope it would. Base Toro, all of the Tauros, or at least like these two Tauros, it's difficult, but like they're not bad, because like they're not like so bad that's not worth it, because you make a case for like good speed tier plus Rock Slide plus Intimidate. Fire Tauros, I'm gonna put it in niche. Same with Water Tauros, probably like bottom of niche, just because like they are just direct upgrades to the fighting type Tauros. Yeah, I would say the fire type Tauros is probably the best one, just because it has like access to Will-O-Wisp. Mega Starmie, once again, very, very, very niche. I'm going to put it probably right below Mega Kangaskhan. But Mega Starmie does hit hard, but the issue is it's competing directly with Basculegion and Palafin. And the gap between Palafin and Basculegion is like this big. Like it is a huge gap between Basculegion and Palafin. Basculegion is just objectively like the best water type in the game right now, at least as far as the physical attackers go. And like the gap between Palafin and Starmie is pretty big too, because the fact of the matter is Palafin does not cost as much as a Mega Starmie. That is your Mega Pokemon. Yes, Mega Starmie hits like a truck, but Palafin hits for pretty comparable damage, since it actually has access to Wave Crash instead of Liquidation. Yeah, Mega Starmie, like if the gap between Palafin and Basculegion is huge, the gap between Starmie and Basculegion is like a canyon. That being said, it's not bad. I will put Gyarados above it, though. I think that Gyarados is extremely slept on right now. It's an Intimidate Pokemon. It's a water type that resists, it's a water type. It resists Wave Crash and stuff from opposing Basculegion. It does have access to tools like Thunder Wave, Taunt, and like a bunch of other things. I think that like as time goes on, and I mean like Rock Slide's everywhere. That's like the biggest downside to it. But like if Rock Slide ends up dropping off a little bit, you can definitely expect to see you can expect to see not Garchomp, but Gyarados pick up a little bit, because it does have a good matchup into Garchomp and into Sneasler and into Incineroar and into all these different Pokemon, even into Charizard Y. It has like a pretty decent matchup. You're not getting one shot. You're dealing pretty consistent damage into it, and you have a really good special defense stat. So yeah, I'm gonna put Gyarados. Actually, I'll put it above Mega Kangaskhan. I think that like it's niche, but it's like not bad, you know. Ditto is not worth it right now. Wait for us to get a restricted format, and then Ditto will have a Pokemon it actually wants to copy. Vaporeon, it's just not the format for like any of the evolutions. You could almost make a case for Jolteon, but like all of the evolutions that aren't like Sylveon are just not worth it right now, frankly. They just don't do much. They don't have like the best offensive stats. Like Flareon does hit really hard with Flare Blitz, but you know, there's no Toxic Orb to activate Guts, and obviously it couldn't even use Flame Orb before. So like if Flareon was really kind of when it didn't have access, but when it had like access to like the Flame Orb, not Flame, the Toxic Orb, it's only worse now that it doesn't have access to the Toxic Orb. Aerodactyl, that is going in the best, maybe even above Charizard. And the reason, you're gonna think I'm crazy for putting it above Charizard, there is no consistent counterplay to Mega Aerodactyl right now, and that sounds crazy to say, but you really have to put something on the team specifically for it to have consistent counterplay. And that's not to say that it is completely broken. It's not like even close to being completely broken, but it's just the fact that like the environment it exists within right now is so tailored to it being strong that it's hard to make a case against it. Like look at this tournament result, like the VR Challenge May. We have Mega Aerodactyl, Mega Aerodactyl, Mega Aerodactyl, Mega Aerodactyl. Like there was 4 of them in top 8. That is half the teams running Mega Aerodactyl. And like, yes, more than half the teams had Charizard Y. I think that like Charizard Y has more counterplay. And if we're putting it just in a 1-to-1 situation, you know, if I had to say who's stronger, Mega Charizard Y or Mega Aerodactyl, I would say that they're pretty close. But if Mega Aerodactyl beats Mega Charizard Y, so I'm going to put Mega Aerodactyl above it. Yeah, 150 speed, having access to Tailwind, having a much stronger dual wing beat that completely just throws the concept of Fat Sneasler out the window, a metagame adjustment that only had like a week's worth of lifespan before it was immediately made like not super relevant, is rough, right? Like the only Aerodactyl that that thing can deal with is base Aerodactyl, and like if you have a Mega Aerodactyl, it's just like whatever. And yeah, I mean, like even into opposing Garchomp Aerodactyl, if you are running the Mega Aerodactyl and they are not going to win that matchup. It is a strong Pokemon that is just objectively difficult to deal with, and it is one of the best Pokemon in the game right now, arguably the best. Snorlax. That is niche, probably top of niche right now. I keep putting things at the top of niche, but Snorlax is not bad. It ironically gets to use Thick Fat to help deal with opposing Charizard right now because Gluttony doesn't have any berries that it affects. Its belly drum set's pretty okay. The lack of things that can one-shot it right now mean that, like, yeah, you are getting a lot more value out of belly drum Snorlax than you would in other formats, but it's still not like the best Pokemon ever. I might even knock it down. I think top of niche was a pretty bold statement. Let's go ahead and do this. Like I said, I'm not organizing them within the tiers, but I kind of am. I kind of am. Dragonite. I'm gonna put Dragonite below Venusaur, but above Clefable. And I am basically basing this off of both forms. Both of its forms are really good. I think its base form's better than its Mega, but they play pretty differently, so I'm putting them both in strong. The thing is that like the Mega form is good on the current iteration of Rain that it finds itself on. The Sableye Archaludon Rain Core does enjoy having a Dragonite on it because multi-scale Dragonite behind screens is already a menace, and if you Mega Evolve it, increase its bulk, increase its damage output with Hurricane, it's a difficult Pokemon to deal with in a lot of situations. And like while it does lean on Rain quite a bit because like all of its moves can miss if Rain is not active, then yeah, like that's like it's kind of whatever, just because like the team is so fat that it can the team it finds itself on is so like fat and bulky that like it can afford to miss a move or two. That being said, base Dragonite I think is a little bit better. It's fallen off a little bit recently, but it's still pretty strong. You can see it got third in the VR challenge. Yeah, Dragon Fang, Dragonclaw Dragonite is able to one-shot opposing Garchomp because it has a really good attack stat, but also like we've seen a couple of other Dragonite sets do really good. I'm a big fan of the Scale Shot Dragonite because while it can miss and while it isn't like the most consistent attacker, it does have a high chance of one-shotting opposing Dragonite and Garchomp and also Sneasler while boosting its speed stat and then being able to set Tailwind kind of like a priority Tailwind because of how fast it is. That is really cool. I really appreciate it. And like they're teching on Low Kick now to deal with opposing Kingambit. Dragonite's just like a super flexible Pokemon. I think that you have to appreciate that. I might even put Dragonite above Venusaur, to be honest. Meganium. It's niche. It's not bad. It's one of the better niche Pokemon. There is a freaking fruit fly in my room, and I've been trying to deal with it. It keeps flying into my mouth, or trying to fly into my mouth. So if you hear me going, puh, puh, that's because there's a fruit fly running around here. You know, you leave one orange out for 5 hours, and suddenly a fruit fly spawns. Who would have thunk? All right, yeah, Mega Meganium's good. It's a fairy grass type, but it is kind of in a difficult situation when the top two Pokemon in the format are a flying type and a flying fire type. It's not gonna have a great time, and because it is its main value really is on like rain teams as a way to deal with things that rain teams don't want to deal with, because it can click Solar Beam and it can click Weather Ball Fire even though rain is active. That's like really good, and its damage output is like really solid, and it's a difficult Pokemon to KO. But like teams are leaning towards having Charizards and Aerodactyls on them, so there's more tools in the game to deal with it. I think that if this tier list were made in the middle of season 1, I would actually put it in strong, but because things are like starting to trend towards Meganium like being a little bit worse, I am going to put it in niche. But yeah, like a couple of weeks ago, this thing would have been in strong tier. Typhlosion, that is super duper niche. I'm gonna put it like pretty low on niche, and like Hisuian Typhlosion, same deal. The fact of the matter is both of these Pokemon are outclassed by Mega Charizard Y, because Mega Charizard Y can set up its own sun, and it's also the same speed tier as the base Typhlosion. And while it can get faked out, and like Hisuian Typhlosion can't, it just like it has a higher damage output. Like I get Eruption strong, but like this thing can just click Heat Wave and annihilate things. So yeah. For Alligator, that is I would argue entering difficult territory, but I think that the way that like the metagame is shaping up, you can make a case for it being a niche. I'll put it like above Slowbro and niche, and that's because like it's not the strongest Pokemon, but like if you look at things as they stand, technically speaking, Feraligatr does have a good matchup into 3 of the Pokemon on this team, being Charizard, Aerodactyl, and Garchomp, and it can switch in on Wave Crashes from Basculegion, and it does go pretty even into Kingambit. Like, the issue it has is like the Fairy type, right? I think the main issue with Feraligatr is that it doesn't have a team that it really wants to run. I would argue that like the best way to use Feraligatr would be as like an alternative to Mega Charizard X on these like Charizard X Milotic and Sinistcha teams. And that's just because like it plays the same way. It doesn't hit as hard, but it does play like a very similar game. But it's like lack of speed means that it's not going to be as reliable as the Charizard X, but it does like pair well with the same Pokemon. A dual Mega team with Floette makes a lot of sense, and Cineroar Sneasler support and like Sinistcha to keep it healthy is nice, and running like a Milotic next to it to make sure that they can't intimidate it and get away with it is nice. But I would say like Kingambit's probably a little bit better in that role. But Milotic you would also make the case for, because you can Icy Wind and then make it so your Feraligatr is going to outspeed things. But yeah, Mega Feraligatr is pretty mid right now. I don't want to put it any higher than just niche. Gyarados, that is the king of niche. The most niche Pokemon in the game. But good, despite being niche. It is a Pokemon that won the global challenge on the hands of, was it Fede Campo? It was Fede Campo, right? Fede, was it Marco? No, it was Fede. I'm not going to check, but I don't know why I'm mixing them up right now. But yeah, basically, Gyarados won a huge online tournament, and it's for a couple of reasons. One, it's a Pokemon that can redirect every hit from Sneasler and not really care. It's difficult to knock out in a single turn because like it doesn't have the best bulk. It only is getting hit super effective by like, you know, Aerodactyl and Charizard and like non-stab Rock Slide in this metagame. So being able to redirect hits into itself, let a partner Pokemon next to it like go for whatever attacks it wants to. It's typically a Charizard. That is good. It also has good speed control with like String Shot. So yeah, it's a strong Pokemon right now, and you can't really deny that. And I'm going to have to delay my live stream today. We'll probably just go live at 5. Let me go do that. Yeah, I just realized how long this video was going to take to record. I'm like, geez, I have a lot more to go through. So we gotta, if I had to push my live stream back a little bit tonight. Okay, Ampharos. Mega Ampharos, I don't even think is bad. I've made a pretty decent Mega Ampharos team, and I think that like it's a little bit slept on. I don't think it's good, right? I don't think it's like incredible, but I think that Mega Ampharos has some sauce going on right now. It is able to one-shot, obviously, Aerodactyl, and it can one-shot Garchomp. I think that in the right hands, a Mega Ampharos team can do pretty well. It is going to go in niche. So yeah, probably like lower on niche though, probably like right there. Yeah, above Feraligatr. Azumarill, kind of an untapped Mon. I haven't even seen a single Azumarill player on ladder. It can do a few things. It's got good HP. It has access to like Play Rough and like obviously huge power, which is really nice. But the thing with it is that like I genuinely don't know what you do with it in this format. It can hit Garchomp and Aerodactyl for super effective damage, and like it does have access to Aqua Jet, so that those are things to consider. I think it's a Pokemon that has some sauce that we could look into. I'm actually gonna go ahead and pop that in the team builder for me right now, just so I can come back to that, because I think that maybe Azumarill could do something. There's not like a ton of Intimidate going around right now, as Incineroar is a little bit on the decline, but it's not bad. So it is, you know, considerable. Politoed, I'm gonna put that in strong. Politoed is a rain setter, and like alongside Pelipper, it's good. It's a good Pokemon. Politoed does have a few more things going for it. It has superior bulk overall. It has, I believe, a better speed tier, which means that Scarf Politoed is going to be a stronger pick. And on top of that, it has access to Perish Song, so it's like a good pick next to Gengar and stuff. So I think that Politoed is pretty deserving of B. It's like on the fringe of being C, but it is good on Perish, and you can't really deny that. I'm gonna say that Espeon's pretty bad, and I would put Umbreon in niche just because Umbreon does have like good tools like Yawn and Snarl and stuff. Those are things that are a little bit more useful in like stronger formats than they are in this current format. but it is something that we can at least recognize is going to be a little bit stronger than basically everything below it on this tier list. Slowking, they're Trick Room setters. They're Trick Room setters. I'm just going to leave it at that. I do think the Galarian Slowbro is pretty objectively bad, though. I think Galarian Slowbro can go, or Slowking. Galarian Slowking can go in difficult. But yeah. Steelix. Steelix is not great. If you want to use a Pokemon like that, you want to use Aggron. I'm going to put it in difficult. Here's the thing with Mega Steelix. I think I have to explain this one a little bit. Mega Steelix is the better form of Steelix, obviously. But while it does have like great defenses and like it has access to like Earthquake and high horsepower and stuff, 125 attack just isn't really cutting it for a Pokemon like that, especially when if you want like a ridiculous wall Pokemon, Mega Aggron's right there with a superior attack stat. While it doesn't have ground coverage, it is able to wall things out a lot better because of its better ability to tank hits due to filter. So yeah, it is a lot more reliable, and it has less weaknesses as like a pure steel type. So I'm gonna go ahead and just say that like Mega Steelix and Steelix is probably gonna go in difficult. Fortress is going to be going in not really worth it. It's just an Iron Defense body press user that gets bodied by a single fire type move. So yeah. Scizor. Scizor is going to go in strong. Actually, maybe top of strong right now. Mega Scizor is good. It's a good Pokemon. I'll put it below Gengar. That being said, it does have some results recently, I believe. If I can find it. Yeah. Rishi Gupta went 7-3 with this team. It is a Mega Scizor team on sand, and that's the thing with Tyranitar. Like, you don't always have to actually use like the sand. You don't always have to use like the Mega Stone on it. It does function pretty well without it, so you can like bring Scizor and Tyranitar to the same game. But Mega Scizor is good basically because of the existence of Pokemon like Sylveon, Pokemon like Tyranitar, and Pokemon like Mega Floette. Basically, if you have a team that does not want to have to deal with Floette because of a few things, one, Tyranitar doesn't have like the best Floette matchup, and Kaboa, of course, has a terrible Floette matchup. So like if you want to pair Mega Scizor with a Pokemon that walls out the majority of the format but has a pretty strict fairy weakness, like that's basically its role right now. And we do see Scizor pop up on like rain teams here and there over as an option over Dragonite because it does effectively have no weaknesses once rain is up. And the damage it does is really good. The one issue with it is it doesn't like having to deal with Farigiraf and Zarina, but those Pokemon aren't as common as like most Pokemon. So like in most matchups, it will be fine. And Bug Bite is going to be doing a lot of damage to opposing Farigiraf, obviously. But one of the better things about it is that like because it's a berry infested metagame, your Bug Bite's actually going to be doing quite a bit of work for you by removing all those citrus berries and resist berries and stuff. So yeah, Scizor, Mega Scizor, actually very strong. Mega Heracross, I am going to make the argument that it is difficult, but not worth it. I think that it is better than Mega Alakazam and all of these ones, but like it does have the highest attack set of the Mega Pokemon, I believe. It's like 185 or something ridiculous. Yeah, 185. It has great bulk, 80, 115, 105. The speed is holding it back, and honestly, its ability is kind of lackluster given what it wants to do. Pin Missile's cool. Pin Missile basically being a 125 base power move is really nice, but you could also just risk a Mega Horn, low-key. It does have access to Rock Blast, which is good into Pokemon like Aerodactyl and Charizard, and it can just one-shot them. But here's the issue. Mega Aerodactyl is outspeeding you and one-shotting you with Dual Wing Beat. Charizard is outspeeding you and one-shotting you with Heat Wave. I would say that you need to run this thing with a Prankster Tailwind Pokemon if you want it to do anything. I would say probably most bang for your buck, either Talonflame or Whimsicott is like the priority Tailwind setter. I don't know. I guess those are the only two priority Tailwind setters, but like it's kind of tough to choose if you. There's no reason to talk about this. I've already. There's no data behind Mega Heracross, but like. Yeah, if you go with like the Talonflame, then you're like super weak to Aerodactyl, but you could just one shot it with Rock Blast. But if you go with the Whimsicott, then you're super weak to Charizard, and then you get one shot by Heat Wave. So on both of your Pokemon. So probably Talonflame, to be honest, just because Talonflame can at the very least get rid of opposing Whimsicott for Charizard. So yeah. Mega Skarmory, niche, but not bad. It's going in like the niche tier. It did have a pretty good finish recently in this tournament. Where is it? Yeah, it's a good answer to Floette. Floette tends to have like redirection Pokemon next to it. So that actually is a good use case for its ability Stalwart. Stalwart makes it so you ignore all redirection. And like just being able to ignore Pokemon like Sinistcha, Ariados, and like any Follow Me users like Mousehold is good. Like your Brave Bird's consistent damage. It does have access to Rock Slide, which can one-shot Charizard because it has 110 base speed. So yeah, actually not a terrible Pokemon in this format. Not great, but not terrible. I'm going to say Mega Houndoom and Houndoom are going in difficult. Not bad, but like, you know, they're not great. I'm going to go ahead and put Tyranitar in meta. And maybe not meta. I'll put it in strong. Because like meta is reserved for some pretty specific Pokemon, in my opinion. Yeah, meta's for some pretty specific Pokemon. Yes, Sand is one of the meta teams, quote unquote meta teams. But like it's an archetype that revolves around Tyranitar, and while Tyranitar does have a lot of good finishes and it is one of the stronger Pokemon in the format, I don't think that it's deserving of being given the praise of being A tier, just because if I'm putting Aerodactyl and Charizard up here, there is a tier below Aerodactyl and Charizard, and like Tyranitar does not enter that same realm as the Pokemon that are going to be going here. But yeah, it is a strong Pokemon, low kick, rock slide, everything. You have to appreciate it. In fact, I think that maybe because Tyranitar's here, we do have to knock a few Pokemon down. We will be knocking down Politoed and Arcanine. But yeah. Or not Politoed and Arcanine, Clefable and Arcanine. I think Politoed can stay. I think you can still chill with all them. Pelipper, that is going in strong. Probably top of strong, maybe just below Tyranitar. And that's because Pelipper sets up Brain Fart, Chaldon, and a bunch of other really annoying Pokemon. It is one of the best Pokemon in the game right now. Sash, Tailwind, Hurricane, Weather Ball. Its damage output is just ridiculous. Gardevoir is going in strong, like on the lower end of strong. Mega Gardevoir is a more niche pick just because Mega Float kind of outclasses it. But it isn't a bad Pokemon. I don't think it deserves niche. You can maybe make the case for top of niche, but it is still strong enough to rock with all these Pokemon. Sableye, that is very strong. A very strong Pokemon right now. Its Mega Form is awful, so Mega Form not included here. Just assume Mega Form's F tier. It's not worth running. It's bulky, but it loses everything that makes Sableye worth running, frankly. A Pokemon like that doesn't succeed in doubles. But base Sableye, dual screens, Encore, Disable, Prankster, Quash, all these like different tools that support a team. It can do everything, and it can't get faked out, and it can't get Prankster Encore. There's a good reason to run Sableye. Mega Aggron, we're going to put that guy in niche, towards the bottom of niche. Like, it is a Trick Room on, but it isn't like the worst Pokemon ever. I'm going to say the same for like Medicham. It has huge power. That's pretty strong. It has like a really good amount of damage output. It has fake out. It's okay. Mega Manectric, I would argue that's a difficult one. It just doesn't do much in this format. Mega Manectric's fine, but like in this format, you don't really get as much value out of your Intimidate when Garchomp is the mon you're intimidating, and you don't outspeed Aerodactyl, so it's like just kind of eh. Same with Sharpedo. Sharpedo is going to be a difficult one to run. Mega Sharpedo's not that bad, but yeah. We will put Mega Camerupt in, and that sucks because I actually really like both of these Pokemon, but Mega Camerupt's going to be going a little bit higher in niche. Its damage output and like ability to be like strong on Trick Room teams is really good. So yeah, the Earth Power from Sheer Force, the Heat Wave from Sheer Force, especially when you pair it with a Ranguru, makes it a really difficult Pokemon to deal with. And Torkoal is like in the same realm. We're going to put Torkoal just... I'll put it just above Politoed. Like, Torkoal on Trick Room is a staple. The Eruption is like what carries Trick Room teams in this format. Altaria and Mega Altaria, I don't even want to give it niche. It is a difficult Pokemon to use right now. It's just because like it does have like the bulk and stuff, and like Dragon Fairy is really good. But the issue is that like its damage output just isn't there. Hyper Voice is strong off of it, but it's 110 special attack. That is the exact same special attack stat as Sylveon, but it doesn't get to run a Fairy Feather, so its damage output is just worse. It gets Tailwind, which is kind of cool. You could almost make a case for it in that sense, in that like it is a Tailwinding Sylveon, but beyond that, it really just is a Sylveon. Like, it's just a Sylveon that loses to other Sylveon. So it is going in difficult. Milotic, that's going in strong, probably above Gengar right now. Intimidate is still relevant, but it's not good. It's not as not. What am I saying? It's not good. It's not as good as it used to be. Incineroar is still everywhere, but it's not like the metagame staple that it like typically is in other formats, in higher power formats. In this format, like Milotic can still take advantage of it though. There's a lot of Icy Wind going around. It is one of the Icy Wind users itself. It has good speed control. Coil Hypnosis, that's ridiculous. And I mean, this thing also won a tournament like not even like 2 weeks ago. So yeah. Cast form, not worth it. I don't even have to elaborate on that. Bayonet, I'm going to put that one in difficult. That being said, it is probably one of the better difficult mons just because it's weird. It kind of steps on its own toes. It is a Pokemon with 165 attack that wants to run Poltergeist, but there are so many berries in this metagame and so many Focus Sash like users in this metagame that if you Poltergeist something and it doesn't KO, you need to run a second move, but it doesn't want to run a second move because Poltergeist only works if they're holding an item, right? But if your other moves want to be support moves, you typically want like Protect, Encore, and like Will-O-Wisp, if not like Destiny Bond or something. So not being able to run one of those moves in exchange for having the consistency to actually be able to attack does kind of suck. And you could drop Poltergeist in exchange for Shadow Claw, but then you're not picking up the KOs that you really want to. Poltergeist has like a good amount of damage on a lot of Pokemon. 165 base attack Poltergeist is stronger than Aegislash, so yeah. Chimecho, that is a difficult mon. Mega Chimecho does wall out like 3 of the best Pokemon in the format in Sneasler, Aerodactyl, and Garchomp, but it doesn't do anything beyond that. I would say that the same applies to Absol. It just doesn't do much. Glalie not worth it. It's hardly a Mega Pokemon, dude. 120 attack, 120 special attack, and 100 speed. Like, yeah, man, cool, awesome. Like, that's great. That's like a regular Pokemon these days. I honestly forgot that these guys were in the game. I forgot the Gen 4 dudes were in there, and we're only in Gen 4. Yeah, that's a good idea. I delayed my stream. It's gonna be a long video. Yeah, I mean, I would say that Shell Smash Torterra's probably fine if you're really trying hard, but it's generally not worth it. Probably down with the evolutions. You can make a case for Infernape. It's a fast fake out user, and like the same kind of goes for Empoleon. It is a defiant, or it's a competitive Pokemon. It has access to Flash Cannon. So I know if you run like a Shukaberry, being able to Ice Beam Garchomp and maybe one-shot it, as well as like, you know, dealing significant damage and kind of walling out Floette a little bit is kind of cool. So I would say that's probably like right there. Roserade is interesting. It's really just like a sleep powder bot though, if we're being honest. Rampardos is generally not really worth it, but you could make a case for it on Trick Room. I'm going to put it there. Yeah. Bastiodon, similar vibe. I mean, like, it is a body press user, but it's weak to everything right now, so I'll probably put it in not worth it, to be honest. Mega Lopunny, actually quite good. It's going to go in niche. Mega Lopunny has 135 base speed and a pretty high attack stat. What's its attack stat again? I think it might be 135 as well. Lopunny, 136. Weird attack stat. But yeah, Scrappy means you can't intimidate it, and it also can hit ghost types, so it's actually a Pokemon that can one-shot and fake out opposing Mega Sableye. The only issue is if you fake out the Sableye, you are going to get Encored into that, so be careful with that. Yeah, but it is pretty good. It can run Triple Axle to one-shot opposing Aerodactyl, and it just has good damage output overall. Mega Lopunny is quite a slept-down Pokemon right now. Spiritomb, not great. Definitely difficult. Garchomp, here we go. Garchomp is the first Pokemon going in meta. It's insane it took this long to find a, quote, meta Pokemon. Like, it's either the best or it's strong. Yeah, Garchomp is our first meta Pokemon. Garchomp just hits it checks off everything you need in a Pokemon in this format right now. It has good spread damage. It has access to Rock Slide. It has a good defensive profile beyond the fact that it's weak to Ice and Fairy moves. And it just has like a good balance of bulk and speed. 102 speed tier is a speed tier that's difficult to contend with right now, especially when you have partner Pokemon providing you Icy Wind support and Tailwind and redirection, and the bulk means that it's very difficult to one-shot Garchomp, even if you're hitting it with an adamant Dragon Claw from an opposing Garchomp. So yeah, Garchomp is, I hardly even need to justify it. It is going in meta. It's not the best because I don't think it is within the realm of these guys just yet. Lucario and Mega Lucario, I'm going to put them in niche. They're not bad. Yes, they can deal with opposing Floette, and yes, they have a really good damage output and a pretty good speed tier. But, like, to be honest, like, spending your Mega on that when, like, you can accomplish a lot of the same feats with a Focus Sash Sneasler is, like, kind of eh. Yeah, like, Mega Lucario is great and all, but, like, it's weird. It enters this realm where it's, like, simultaneously a great Pokemon that hits really hard, but also, like, not a Pokemon that can carry its own weight on a team. Just because it's so frail. Like, it's going to get close combated, it's going to get Earthquake. There's just a lot of things that are hostile in this format to it. And it does have access to Rock Slide, but it doesn't really want to run that. So it does have, sorry, the fly's back. It does have a difficult matchup into Charizard, which is not great. Especially if, like, they get a Tailwind up against you. It's just, it's not going to look good for you. Hippowdon, that is niche. I haven't seen any of them on ladder, but it does have Sandstream, and it's, like, a good Pokemon. Beyond that, it has Yawn and, like, good bulk. Same with Toxicroak. I mean, it has Fake Out and Low Kick and Close Combat and Poison Jab. Those are good. Abomasnow, I can see a use case for not Tailwind. I can see a use case for, like, Trick Room Snow Spam. Weavile's, like, at the top of niche around that area just because it has Fake Out, it has Triple Axle, it's able to outspeed a good amount of Pokemon in the format, and it has good damage output, but it's not, like, incredible. Rhyperior, an extremely slept on Pokemon, actually did really good in the Scraw tournament. I'm not sure how far it went overall, but sorry, it's adjusted my nose ring, but it is just difficult to deal with. Under Trick Room with Sun active because it pairs well with Charizard, it is one of the stronger Pokemon in the game because it does have access to Solid Rock, decreasing all the super effective damage it takes. It has great overall bulk, and its attack stat's like 145 or something ridiculous like that, right? Yeah, it's got 140 attack. Yeah, that thing's Stone Edge and Rock Slides, those are going to hurt. And it also can just eat hits from Garchomp. 115 HP, 130 defense with Solid Rock decreasing the damage you take from super effective attacks. It is just tanking the hit from Garchomp, and that is ridiculous. And technically it does have access to Ice Punch, but it's not going to run that. It's typically just going to have, like, Wide Guard and stuff. So, your Rhyperior... Oh, no, it doesn't have Wide Guard. Anyways, it doesn't matter. Rhyperior is still just super strong in this metagame, but it's not, like, going in strong tier. It's definitely more niche than all the Pokemon above it. Leafeon, that is just generally not worth it. It's even more not worth it than the other ones because it doesn't have Sleep Powder and it doesn't hit very hard. Glaceon's probably, like, the best of the not Sylveon evolutions, beyond Umbreon, so I'm going to put it, like, just below Umbreon. Gliscor is pretty bad right now. It is a difficult Pokemon to justify using. It doesn't hit hard, and it doesn't have access to the Toxic Orb. So it doesn't have, like, that annoying recovery. What's this thing named? Mamoswine. I almost called it Abomasnow. Mamoswine. That is a good Pokemon. It's not incredible. It's probably, like, around the same viability as, like, Weavile if I had to guess. I don't know why. C tier is not really ordered. Frankly, it's B tier and above that's ordered, but I'm just kind of throwing them in C tier. Mamoswine can't be intimidated, is a huge threat to both Garchomp and Aerodactyl on lead, and even can be a pretty difficult Pokemon to deal with if you're named Sneasler because it tends to run Focus Sash. Mamoswine also doesn't have, like, the worst physical bulk on Earth. 110 HP, 80 defense isn't that bad. Just saying, if they made Mamoswine these days, it'd have 130 HP. I just want to throw that out there. But yeah, it can eat a hit on the physical side of things. Special side, not so much, but Ice Shard is a really annoying move to deal with, as it's not a common priority move in this game, but on Mamoswine, they tend to run it. Gallade's okay. It's a niche Pokemon. It's able to deal with, like, you know, basically any dark type. It's able to deal with opposing Incineroar. It's a Trick Room setter. It has Wide Guard. It has a lot of tools, but it's not, like, broken, you know? So, yeah. Frostlass. That is strong, but it's not, like, the strongest anymore. I'm going to put it below Venusaur. It was a lot better a few weeks ago before people kind of picked up on Sableye. With Sableye kind of running around, like, it makes Weather a lot more difficult to play around. And, like, Weather's just kind of king in this format. But yeah, Frostlass did have a really deep run in this tournament. Geno Park ended up doing pretty well. They got 3rd place in the VR tour. Let me see if I can pull this up. But yeah, it's typically just Blizzard, Protect, Shadow Ball, Aurora Veil. The overall bulk it gives the team, and, like, just the ability to let the good stuff surround it, like Kingambit, Sneasler, Basculegion, Dragonite, just have more longevity while also protecting them from opposing Garchomp and stuff is really good. But, like, once again, like, Aerodactyl has made this thing's life a nightmare. It's too fast to deal with, and you do have to try not to get Rock Slide flinched, which is America's favorite game show right now. Rotom base form, not really worth it. Rotom Heat is going to be niche. It's typically Rotom Wash that gets used, so we'll put Rotom Wash probably right here above Politoed, I would say. Yeah. It has a lot of good tools. It's bulky-ish. It has low HP, but like good defenses. Pretty solid special attack stat, and its speed tier is okay. It can do a couple of things. Typically, it's like Scarf Electroweb on sand teams, but or not on sand teams, on like, you know, more offensive teams. But on bouncy teams or sand teams, you tend to see Will-O-Wisp, Citrus Berry stuff. It does still sometimes run Electroweb on those, but it's mostly just Thunderbolt, Hydro Pump, Protect, Will-O-Wisp, because it's like a good Pokemon to come in, disrupt the game. It doesn't really fear Garchomp and Aerodactyl so much as other Pokemon because of its solid bulk and access to moves that can disrupt their damage output with Will-O-Wisp. But it is a Pokemon that can just get Rock Slide flinched down, and it kind of relies on its Citrus Berry to be useful at all. I'm going to say that the Freezer one is pretty bad. The Fan one is just not worth it, and the Lawnmower one is niche. Superior, I could see a case for it. It's an okay Pokemon. I'm going to throw it in niche. Emboar, that is a difficult. It's not a not worth it, but it's a difficult one to make the use case for. I'm going to say the same for Samurott. The thing with Samurott is that it's not necessarily like a bad Pokemon. It's just that it is the most unremarkable water type in the game. It is extremely unremarkable. It doesn't do anything. Hisui Samurott kind of patches that by the fact that it has Sharpness, Sacred Sword, and Sharpness, Ceaseless Edge, and Aqua Cutter and stuff, so it can go a little bit higher in the tier list. Watchog. I would say not worth it, but it did really good in the tournament, so we're going to say D tier. It's Watchog. It doesn't have good stats. Liepard, that's a prankster mon. It can go in niche. It's probably fine. Simi Sage is generally going to be difficult. I would argue not worth it just because it's the worst of the grass types. Simi Seer, that's going to be going in difficult, and Simi Poor is going to be going in niche. Because Simi Poor has things like Icy Wind and Scald and Ice Beam, and Simi Sage I have been using, or Simi Seer I've been using in my challenge to get all like the worst Pokemon in the game to Master Ball tier. And like Focus Sash, Fake Out, Will-O-Wisp, Flamethrower, it's a fine Pokemon. It's just that there's so many things contending with it that it's not like it's not worth running over most other fire types in the game. Excadrill will be going in strong, probably just below Gengar. I'll put it below Scizor. I'll put it below Gengar. Yeah, not Scizor. Excadrill's good. Excadrill's good. It has Sand Rush, Focus Sash. It's a Rock Slide user. It's one of the few Pokemon that can enter the realm of Aerodactyl speed tier and hit it with Iron Head to deal pretty significant damage. I'm actually not even sure if it one-shots. Let me see. Excadrill at +2 obviously is going to outspeed Mega Aerodactyl. So if we go Adamant into Aerodactyl with, let's go with Soway set, 5 HP. We see that Iron Head. Yeah, Adamant Iron Head does always one-shot. And if you go Jolly, it should still mostly one-shot. Yeah, so yeah, I mean, like, Aerodactyl is like one of those, not Aerodactyl. Excadrill is one of those Pokemon that can actually enter that speed tier, and it's pretty solid because of that. It's also just like a staple of sand teams, and it's like a good Earthquake user. It's a good Pokemon overall. Autono, that is just not worth it. It doesn't do anything. Conkeldurr is going to be a niche Pokemon. Wide Guard, Drain Punch, Mach Punch. Like, it does a lot of things. It's pretty good. Whimsicott is also going to be going in strong. I'm going to put it above Gengar just because Whimsicott finds itself on a lot of different archetypes, especially Charizard ones, because of its ability to reset Sand, Encore Lock things into Protect, and just be a general nuisance. It's also like a Fairy type, which pairs well with Floette. I've seen a lot of people trying out Fairy Feather Whimsicott with like max special attack because it chunks things with Fairy Aura and the Fairy Feather. It is a difficult Pokemon to actually switch in on, despite it being a support mon, so it's kind of nuts for that. I paused so I can go get a banana. I haven't had lunch yet. Okay, Crocodile. I won't record this while I'm eating. I'll pause one more time, but I want to let you all know I had to take a little lunch break. Okay, we're back. Crocodile. It's got Intimidate, and it is a ground type. Like, it's fine. It's not bad. It did pretty well in the GC, if I recall. I'm going to put it in niche. A lot of guys are going to be really upset in the comments, like, why is everything niche? Because most things in life are niche, okay? All right. Cofagrigus. That is probably niche, bordering on difficult. It does have Will-O-Wisp, and it does wall out a lot of Pokemon. It has a pretty incredible defense stat, and it does get Iron Defense Body Press, so we'll put it in niche. It's fine. Garbodor's going in difficult. There's just, like, not a purpose for it in the metagame right now. It is another Fairy Hunter type poison type, but it, like, just doesn't have enough fairies to hunt where it's worth it. It's just a generally hostile environment for it. Base Zoroark, it is going to go in niche. It's a fast offensive dark type, but as long as Hisui Zoroark exists, it's going to be far more niche than Hisui Zoroark. Hisui Zoroark is still a niche, right? But it is closer to the top of niche. It did pretty well in the Victory Road tour that we're looking at for a lot of the data we're checking out today. So yeah, basically Hisui Zoroark is just unfake outable. Scarf Hisui Zoroark is able to burn things with Will-O-Wisp. Especially with how physical the metagame is, it actually isn't that bad of an investment to Scarf Will-O-Wisp something, because you're able to burn one Pokemon and then the other Pokemon pretty consistently. But even beyond that, Shadow Ball is like good damage output, and it does have access to Icy Wind to give speed control to partner Pokemon. And once again, it's not fake outable, so just turn 1 Icy Wind is generally strong. Reuniclus, it is a strong Trick Room setter, and it like has good offensive stats, so we'll put it in niche. Same goes with Vanillux. It is just a Snow Warning Mon, and it Scarf Blizzard off this thing is not fun to actually have to eat. Like, it does have a pretty good offensive stat, right? Like, I'm pretty sure it's like, what, 120 on Vanillux? Oh no, it's 110. Still not the worst. You know, I could see it being pretty okay. Actually, it's 1 point faster than Basculegion, so take that! Freeze Dry. Ooh, the Basculegion Hunter. All right. Yeah, that I'm going to say that Emolga is not worth it. I think it might not even get Tailwind anymore. Let me check. Emolga, Tailwind. It does not get Tailwind. That is a useless Pokemon in this format. I am sorry. Emolga does not do anything. All right. Chandelure, that is a niche Pokemon. Once again, it is able to go for Heat Wave and Shadow Ball, and like its Mega Form does have 175 special attack. That is strong, and it's able to bypass the screens that Sableye likes to play. However, it's in contention with Charizard for Fire type status, and beyond that, it's in contention with Torkoal. And like when both of those Pokemon exist in the metagame, it is pretty difficult to find a purpose for Chandelure. That being said, I don't think Chandelure or Mega Chandelure are all that bad. I think they are pretty okay Pokemon, but they are going in the general box of you could use this if you want to tier. So yeah. Next up, Stunfisk and Galarian Stunfisk. They're both going in not worth it. I don't need to explain it. These Mons have nothing going for them. Did you know they nerfed Galarian Stunfisk? Did you know that? Did you know that they got rid of Metal Claw on this guy? I learned the hard way. It doesn't even learn Metal Claw anymore. Here's a list of Steel-type moves that it learns. Flash Cannon, Iron Defense, Steel Beam, Metal Sound, and Snap Trap. It is a physically attacking Steel-type, 81 attack, right? And it only learns one physical Steel move, and it's Snap Trap. And let me tell you something. It didn't... Snap Trap was a Grass-type move up until Pokemon Champions. They just fixed it. So yeah. Beartic. I actually haven't even seen Beartic stats in like maybe 20 years. Not actually, but 130 attack, 50 speed. It is one of the worst ice types I've ever seen. So yeah, it's going in difficult. Golurk, it's actually not a bad Trick Room Pokemon. I'm gonna put it in niche. Yeah, Mega Golurk can bypass Protect because of its ability Unseen Fist. A heavily nerfed ability. However, still a good ability nonetheless. 159 attack, good bulk all around with 89 HP, 105 defense, 105 special defense, and like a Trick Room speed tier. It does have access to Poltergeist for pretty significant damage, and it also has Headlong Rush, meaning that it can just one-shot whatever it wants because it has a stupid attack stat. Yeah, this Pokemon is good. I would recommend probably throwing Ice Punch on there as your third move, and then probably just Protect because you get a lot of value from that. But yeah, I think that Mega Golurk is not bad. We're going to put Hydreigon in Strong. It is a pretty solid pick right now. I'm going to put it below... Yeah, I'll put it below Rotom. And that's because Hydreigon It really only has like one set right now, and that's Scarf Hydreigon, and there's a good reason Scarf Hydreigon's good. It is able to outspeed basically every Pokemon in the game, and it's able to spam Snarl to support the team. It does have Dark Pulse and Draco Meteor for good damage, so it can like end game Pokemon pretty well, and it does outspeed Basculegion, which is really big. Outspeeding Basculegion and also resisting everything it does and dealing significant damage is going to be very good for your team. But also, like, just having Heat Wave coverage, that's, like, not terrible, especially in a format where Mega Scizor is running around here and there. So it's, like, a good Pokemon all around. It's definitely better than, like, Niche. I think it is going in strong. I don't think it, like, is as niche as the other Pokemon. It doesn't see as much usage because it's basically just a sand Pokemon right now. But I think that you can make uses, you can make a use case for it on like most teams if you like really look for it. Same goes for Volcarona. Volcarona is clearly going in strong. It's not the best Pokemon in the format as of right now, but it is head and shoulders above a lot of Pokemon below it. It can still Quiver Dance and Heat Wave, but it is mostly a redirection user. Rage Powder, Flame Body is as strong as ever due to the fact that most Pokemon are physical in this format, but it does come with one major caveat, and that's that Rock Slide is on every single team. You don't like that as a Volcarona. That's why Volcarona is one of the weaker iterations of it that it's ever been, but it still is a good Pokemon, and you can't really deny that, especially in this format. So yeah, just if you're careful with your Rock Slides, if you like have the appropriate Pokemon next to it to deal with those Rock Slide Pokemon, Volcarona can still make a pretty big splash in a match. We're gonna go ahead and put Mega Chestnut and Base Chestnut kind of just in the middle of niche. However, Mega Delphox does deserve to go in strong. I'm gonna go ahead and put it probably above Hydreigon, but below Rotom. There was a time where we thought Mega Delphox would be the kind of one of the better Pokemon in the game, like probably in meta, right? There was like some people who were like, oh, this is like a top 3 Mega in the metagame. But as things stand, like the existence of Aerodactyl is just making its life a nightmare. Like it is another Pokemon that it can't outspeed. Honestly, back in whatever year they introduced Mega Pokemon, like 2014 or 2013, they definitely gave this thing 150 base speed and thought like, oh yeah, it's like the only thing making it good. And then they like never gave any Pokemon a higher speed tier than it that were Mega, and we're kind of seeing like the downside of that right now because we are missing Pokemon that can consistently deal with Mega Aerodactyl. Unironically, a Scarf Urshifu in this format is probably like something that would help a little bit, but like we're trading one evil for another in that case. But yeah, Mega Delphox has like incredible stats. It is still a solid Pokemon, and while it doesn't have the same success as it did in the beginning of the format, you can't deny that. It has some of the best damage output, 159 special attack. It does have access to Psychic, and it does have access to Heat Wave, and having Levitate next to like Garchomp is like still really good. It is seen as a very solid alternative to Charizard Y, but Charizard Y is still pretty preferred in most formats, or in most scenarios. Greninja, that is honestly, that's bordering on difficult. I kind of want to put it in difficult, but I think I can't if I'm putting Simipour above it. Yeah, we'll put it in niche. Greninja is one of the worst iterations of it that we've seen so far. And that's because Mega Greninja just doesn't really get to play the game right now. 142 speed, once again, below Aerodactyl, and Aerodactyl's on a ton of teams. It is pretty inconsistent, and it's hard for it to run a water type move because it lost access to Scald. Its best water type move currently is Hydro Pump, and because of that, Mega Greninja is basically a Blizzard bot. Mega Greninja has 142 speed and 133 special attack, so it does hit pretty hard, and it does get stabbed on whatever move it uses first. And because of that, it can turn itself into an Ice type and click Blizzard, and like if Snow is active, that's really good. But that's basically all it gets to do. Mega Greninja will typically run Blizzard, Protect, Dark Pulse, and like maybe a Water move. But I've seen a lot of them just forego Water moves, if not just run Water Shuriken, which is not the strongest Water move in the game, as it's only 15 base power. So yeah, Mega Greninja's and Base Greninja's pretty it's not strong. Diggersby, it is difficult. It is a huge power Pokemon, right? But there's not really a huge need for it right now. 85, 77, 77 is pretty mid bulk. 78 speed is not great. Scarf Diggersby would speed type Basculegion, and it's still like weak to Sneasler. It does have like one of the stronger earthquakes in the game. That is really nice for it, but I mean, like beyond that, it's just like nothing really special. Talonflame, I'm going to go ahead and put in strong. I think that Talonflame is a little bit slept on right now due to the existence of Aerodactyl. You could even, I think actually, no, I think that I might have to draw the line at Talonflame. I think we have to put Talonflame in niche. I think that like there's just, at the start of season 1, I would put Talonflame in strong. In this current iteration, it's definitely niche. It does not enjoy the existence of Aerodactyl. There are so many Pokemon in this game that just don't like Aerodactyl. And yeah, you can see that. Like, Talonflame did do pretty good. It got 9th on Gyarados' team. But I don't think that it's necessarily, like, to the same level that, like, a lot of other Pokemon are in this format. I don't think that, like, if you had to choose between 2 Tailwind Setters and, like, you can get the Whimsicott or the Talonflame, like, most of the time it is just going to be Whimsicott. Talonflame's cool. It does have Quick Guard, and that's, like, really nice. But I think that, once again, just, like, the existence of Aero kind of coming into prevalence has made, Talonflame a lot less viable than it used to be. Vivillon is in a very similar boat. It is still also going in niche. We're just going to say that niche is an untiered or an unordered tier. It has Rage Powder. It has Compound Ice Sleep Powder. It has Friend Guard. There's a lot of things going for it, but it's not like entering the realm of like strong Pokemon. Floette. Floette, I'm going to put in meta. I don't think that it's like Charizard and like Aerodactyl tier. I think it's still very good. Is that sacrilege to say? It did do really good in the Indonesia tournament. I kind of want to put it in the best. Here's the thing. I'm going to put it in the best. I'm going to put it below Charizard. I think that's pretty objective at this point. That is below Charizard. Mega Floette Eternal is a ridiculous Pokemon. And I think that it only became ridiculous once people forgot that Calm Mind existed. Because Calm Mind almost feels like a trap now. Mega Floette Eternal can one-shot a ton of Pokemon in the game. After a single Calm Mind, a Moonblast is one-shotting like Incineroars and Kingambits and stuff, and that is stupid and ridiculous and like honestly just kind of unfair in some games. But it also has Light of Ruin. And Light of Ruin kind of just does that naturally with enough investment. And that is ridiculous. And I think that like because that is the case and because Mega Floette Eternal finds itself on a bunch of different teams, I think that like it is the case that it is probably an S tier. It's between S and A, and I think I'm gonna go ahead and go for S tier. I think that's a fair placement for it. Florges, yeah, that's going in difficult. You don't do anything. That's good. It is a fairy type and it has good special defense, but it doesn't do anything. Same with Pangoro. It's just not like in a good position. Most Pokemon in the metagame are able to like one-shot it because, not most, but like most teams have like a few tools that can one-shot a Pangoro. Just because Pangoro doesn't have like the best bulk ever and it like is weak to fairy moves and flying moves, and like dark fighting is not like the best defensive typing. Furfrou is just generally not worth it. That mon don't do anything. The Meowsticks I'm going to put in difficult because I think that there is a case to be made for them if you put them next to a Spothra, but they're not easy to use. So yeah. Same with Trevenant. Trevenant is pretty difficult. It's one of the worst Trick Room setters right now just because the other Trick Room setters don't fall over to a stray Heat Wave. As for Aegislash, we're going to throw Aegislash in strong, and it's going to be on the higher end of strong, probably above Gengar here. And that's because Aegislash is just generally quite good. It's offensively able to deal with a ton of Pokemon. I don't know how much Poltergeist does to Charizard. I actually kind of want to check that. But Aegislash is able to wall out opposing Aerodactyl and also eat a hit from Garchomp. And it doesn't like taking the Earthquake, but it can eat the Earthquake, right? But Poltergeist into Mega Aerodactyl. Let's go to Blade Form. You can see that like Poltergeist is doing like 93 to 110, and that's if you're not running Iron Head, because a lot of them do forego Iron Head. It does have a good matchup into Sylveon and Mega Floette Eternal, but I do want to check the Charizard one. If you do manage to end up in a position where you can Poltergeist a Charizard, yeah, you do one-shot non-bulky Charizard with Poltergeist if you have the spell tag. So yeah, this Pokemon's good. I mean, like walling out Sneasler is obviously quite nice, and like having like just one of the better defensive profiles as like a Steel Ghost type is just generally going to take you pretty far in the metagame. Aromatisse is going to be difficult. It is an untauntable Trick Room setter, but it's nothing special beyond that. Slurpuff's generally not worth it. It doesn't really do anything in this meta. It has Sticky Web and String Shot and like weird speed control options, but it lost Belly Drum, so like all of its sauce is gone. We'll put we'll put Clawitzer in niche, mostly just because it's like a Trick Room water type, and like that's not super common right now. Heliolisk is like a cool anti-metamon. We'll put it like in the higher end of niche. It is just a walled Basculegion, and it also has like a few cool matchups. Like its Thunderbolt is able to do pretty significant damage to a Charizard Y, and there aren't a lot of electric types in the game, so yeah. Tyrantrum is going to be difficult. It just doesn't have a good defensive profile, and it's not super fast, and it doesn't even hit all that hard, which is really crazy because that is a T-Rex, right? That is a T-Rex. Let me look at Tyrantrum stats. Yeah, 121 attack for all that. Like it's kind of a waste actually. 521. What are you doing, man? Same with Aurorus. That's going in difficult. It's just like kind of whatever. Sylveon, that is going in meta. Yeah, Sylveon is a strong alternative to Floette Eternal. It does have pretty comparable damage because it carries the Fairy Feather, and the Fairy Feather is kind of like a portable Fairy Aura. That being said, it also gets Pixelate boosts on its moves, which is why it's able to actually deal pretty significant damage. And its Hyper Beam is kind of like a Light of Ruin. It is, again, in the same realm of damage, but it is mostly seeing usage due to the fact that people who are adapting to... Let me get rid of these teams real quick. People who are adapting to run the dual Mega Charizard and Aerodactyl teams can't afford to run a third Mega in Mega Floette Eternal, so they end up dropping them for Sylveon because Sylveon just has very similar damage, very similar tools, and very similar matchups. That being said, it is slower, bulkier, and plays a little bit differently, but it does also have access to some pretty interesting tools like Yawn and Quick Attack, which is really nice for it, so we'll go ahead and just put it there. I think that like it is a meta pick right now, obviously. Hawlucha, that is difficult. I wouldn't say not worth it because I have played it, and it does have a niche. It does have a niche. Mega Hawlucha can do the entrainment stuff, and I have played it in a tournament and did pretty good with it, so I'll say that like difficult is fine. Goodra is difficult. Hisuian Goodra is going to be niche. Hisuian Goodra is a body press spammer, but like base Goodra just doesn't do anything. It doesn't have good offensive stats. Dragon is, and the reason it does have like 110 special attack, but the reason I say it doesn't have good offensive stats is because as a dragon type, the only move it has stab on is going to be either Dragon Pulse or Draco Meteor, and all of its coverage moves are not going to be hitting for as much damage as you would hope for. It does sponge hits pretty well, but it doesn't have recovery, so it is pretty bad. We'll put Klefki in niche. It is just a prankster Pokemon with access to a bunch of tools. I'll only rank one of the Gourgeist. It's going to be going in difficult, but I believe Gourgeist does get Trick Room, and like that's kind of enough of a reason to run it, right? Trick Room, yeah, it does get Trick Room, and it does have like an okay attack stat, so we'll put it there. The other Gourgeist, I would say all the other Gourgeist are not worth it, but like the fattest one is probably fine enough. Avalugg, that is going in not worth it. Hisuian Avalugg though is marginally better. We'll put it in difficult. They just are okay Trick Room Pokemon, but they don't hit super hard. Noivern is in difficult. The only reason it's not worth it is just because we're lacking a lot of like the faster Tailwind setters in this game. And honestly, if you're not facing off against an Aerodactyl on that rare occasion, then honestly, like Tailwind Noivern is one of the faster ones. So you could make the case for it. Decidueye, I would argue not worth it. It's kind of in the same realm as a Leafeon in that it just doesn't accomplish anything. And it like is a bulky grass ghost type, which is something that I never really wanted before, but yeah, Hisuian Decidueye does have like a little bit more sauce than it. Incineroar, that is another meta pick. Incineroar is quite strong. I would put it probably above Sylveon, but below Garchomp. Fake Out, Intimidate, Parting Shot, the like. We already know what Incineroar does. It's not the best to this format, I will say that. I think that it is just strong. But yeah, here's the thing. Like, you could make the argument like Incineroar is the best because it can fit on basically any team and it enables a ton of stuff. But it doesn't feel nearly like it feels like VGC 18 Incineroar, which you could argue is the most balanced Incineroar has ever been. In that like it takes a more offensive role in a lot of games. A lot of people run Adamant Incineroar these days, and that's just because like Incineroar thrives in this format when it's able to do something other than reduce incoming damage. So yeah, Incineroar is pretty cool right now. We'll put Primarina in strong. I feel like I'm spinning in my pop filter right now. I don't know why. We're putting Primarina in strong. Yeah, it is a fairy water type. Once again, we are in a fairy drought right now, and of course the fairy water type helps with that. But it does have a good special attack stat. It has pretty good overall bulk. Dazzling Gleam, Moonblast are great fairy type moves, and Hyper Voice is pretty cool, especially since Liquid Voice turns it into a water type move. But it doesn't get the Pixelate boost where it has like 30% boost on it, so that's a little bit underwhelming with it. That being said, if it did have that, this mod would be a different beast if its Hyper Voice was able to have a free life orb. Toucannon is generally not worth it. It just has one niche in being able to It's a knowledge check. This happened to me the other day. A Beak Blast is a 2-turn move, or not 2-turn move. It's a 1-turn move, but like it's like Focus Punch almost, but like on the, it has higher priority than anything in the game. You start heating up your beak, and if they fake out into you trying to prevent a Tailwind or something, they get burned. I didn't know it goes before fake out. That's kind of nuts. And then you attack at the end of the turn. So it's a cool Pokemon. Yeah. But it's not strong. Crabominable. That's niche. Mega Crabominable hurts. That is a strong Pokemon. Yeah, Hyper Cutter, blocking Intimidate from like Incineroars and stuff, and then being able to one-shot them with Drain Punch because of Iron Fist, and then Ice Hammer being a ridiculously strong move because of Iron Fist as well. I believe it becomes basically Ice-type close combat. Yeah, Mega Crabominable is like really interesting right now, but it's not like the best Pokemon. We will put Lycanroc in C, Lycanroc Dusk in Difficult, and Lycanroc Midday in C, just because like the higher speed tiers on the Lycanrocs does mean that their Rock Slides are a little bit more effective. The other Lycanroc, though, it basically is just a sitting duck, and while it can't miss a Stone Edge, that's not like a super notable trait. We'll put Toxapex in Difficult. This is not a very stally format, and while it doesn't have a lot of Pokemon that can knock it out, Toxapex will mostly just sit on the field and do nothing in most games. It won't get KO'd super early, but it does kind of sit in the field and accomplish nothing. Mudsdale's in a very similar boat, but it is more niche. It is a ground type with access to body press and stamina and leftovers and stuff, so it is pretty okay. And it even has own tempo if you want to do like a side swagger strategy to boost its attack. And own tempo also blocks Mudsdale from being able to be intimidated, so that is pretty cool. I like how I've just been sinking into my chair this whole time because this video is taking forever. I've been recording for almost an hour and a half. There's a lot of Pokemon in this game. Okay. Araquanid. It is a fine Pokemon. I'm going to argue it's a little bit more difficult to use just because Sun is everywhere and Rock Slide's everywhere, and Trick Room isn't the strongest it's ever been, but also Archaladon's pretty good right now. So just Archaladon's like a very difficult Pokemon for this mod to deal with. It's just a perfect matchup into Araquanid where Archaladon will always win. I'll put Zarina in niche. Nah, I'm also gonna bump Araquanid in niche. Zarina's a niche. It's a grass type. You can Scarf it. You can Triple Axle. It does everything you need it to do. Salazzle's probably fine. It's gonna go in niche. It is a fake out flamethrower user. Probably like one of the few fake out flamethrower users beyond like Simisear. Oranguru, once again in niche, it is a Trick Room setter. One of the better Trick Room setters as it's not tauntable or flinchable. So even in the face of like double Rock Slide, like a bulky enough Oranguru will basically always get the Trick Room off. So it is super reliable because of that. Passimian is generally not worth it. It is a fighting type with no sauce. It's not super fast. It doesn't hit super hard. It has 120 attack with like close combat and stuff, but Passimian's just not really doing much right now. Mimikyu, I would say, is going in strong, probably below Gengar. We'll put it below Dragonite. We'll put it above Froslass, below Venusaur. And that's just because, yeah, it's a reliable Trick Room setter. Disguise is good. Will-O-Wisp is good. You can even use Curse if you really want to. We have Drampa. Mega Drampa is going to be difficult. It's fine. You can do a couple of things with it, but like the meta is pretty hostile to it with all the fairy types running around. Hyper Voice is cool. Berserk activating is cool. Not incredible though. We'll go ahead and just throw it in difficult. Komodo, that's gonna be going in strong. Komodo has been a very solid Pokemon overall. We'll put it just below Rotom. Komodo fits in a couple of archetypes, Sand, Perish. At the end of the day, as long as you protect Komodo from fairy types, it'll like be good to you. You can use Clangor Soul setup and like go for huge damage with Clanging Scales while outspeeding most of the Pokemon in the metagame and one-shotting Garchomp after a single boost. And it even has like Iron Defense Body Press sets. But for the most part, it is like Clangor Soul setup sets that are seeing the most success right now. Corviknight, that's also going to be going in strong. Corviknight is probably around the same as Komodo, probably just a little bit higher. It's good on sand teams. Tailwind is really nice. It's one of the slower Tailwind users, but it is able to wall out a good amount of Pokemon. It doesn't necessarily care about Aerodactyl or Garchomp as it walls out both of them. Its most difficult matchup is definitely Charizard, but since it sees most usage on sand teams, it means it's basically safe from Charizard as long as you play your Tyranitar and your Excadrill effectively. It's a very difficult Pokemon to deal with as it does like to run bulk up and go for body press and Iron Head and Brave Bird and stuff. So it is a solid Pokemon, but it is very setup reliant. Flapple, that is generally not worth it. Just too much work. Same with Appleton. Sandaconda, I would argue. A lot of these Pokemon from Gen 8 just aren't worth it. Sandaconda's probably not worth it either. It's just a more niche ground type that doesn't accomplish anything. What's its attack stat? I actually don't know Sandaconda's attack stat. I know it's not that low. It's 107. Yeesh. That's pretty bad. 107 is actually really bad. For like what it is, at least. Sinistea, is that your name? No. Poltegeist? Is this Poltegeist? I always forget. Yeah, Sinistra, Poltegeist. That's it. Yeah, Poltegeist is pretty bad. It's just a Shell Smash user with stored power, which is only good in singles. And even then, it's not that good in singles. Hatterene is going to go in niche. Without Psy Spam, it is pretty difficult to like make a use case for Hatterene, but it is still a good Trick Room Pokemon, and it is one of the few fairy types in the game. And there's Pokemon in here that aren't in the game. I don't know why Grimmsnarl's here, so we'll throw Grimmsnarl to the bottom. Pretty sure Grimmsnarl's not in the game. Otherwise, we'd be using it. But yeah, we have Mr. Rhyme. That's difficult. It does have Fake Out and Screen Cleaner, which is really nice in the current Sableye infested metagame, but it's not like Sableye's not relevant enough where you need the Mr. Rhyme for a lot of matchups. Runerigus is generally not worth it. It is a Trick Room setter, but it's like an offensive version of Cofagrigus, and it doesn't really accomplish much. It is more like a gimmick Pokemon. Alchemy's kind of cool. I mean, it does have Decorate. It's going to be going in difficult, though. No, I'll put it in niche. Like, it can hit okay, and it does have Decorate. So it's kind of whatever. Morpeko, we'll put that in niche. It is a Fake Out user, and it has access to... Does it have access to Knockoff? That's actually a big question. Morpeko. If it gets Knockoff, I'll put it in niche. It does get Knockoff. Yeah, that's niche. If it didn't get Knockoff, I'll put it in difficult. Dragapult, that's niche. It's not like in the strong tier. It's not like in that same level as all the other Pokemon, but it is like one of the faster Pokemon in the game. And it's able to hit pretty hard if you put it on the right team. But once again, it's just like in an environment where it's not super inclined to like seeing success. Like there's just a lot of Pokemon that deal with it that make it difficult for this Pokemon to play the game. Weirdier, that is gonna go in difficult. It's an intimidating Trick Room setter, and that's kind of cool, but it doesn't accomplish much beyond that. Cleavor, that is gonna be going in niche. It is a Stealth Rock setter. Basculegion, here we go. That is going in the best. That is one of the most broken Pokemon in the game. Where's Kingambit? Okay, yeah, Kingambit's right there. Yeah, Basculegion is one of the most broken Pokemon in the game. It's an endgame sweeper. It is a Scarf Pokemon. It is a Sash Pokemon. It is a Mystic Water Pokemon. Its damage scales with how many Pokemon you've lost, meaning it has a built-in comeback mechanic. And just being able to pivot in and out, function on even Sun teams, which is kind of ridiculous. It is a Pokemon that you can just kind of slap on as a 6th slot, and you will bring it to matchups. It is ridiculous just how strong this thing is. It can take KOs on most Pokemon. Matter of fact, Mega Venusaur has to run max HP, a Bold Nature, and 15 defense to live 3 boosts from Last Respects. Like, the fact that this Pokemon can one-shot most things in the game with Last Respects is just a ridiculous feat. That being said, it does have to run Jolly nowadays if it wants to outspeed Gengar, but there aren't as many Gengar running around. It does need to run Jolly to outspeed Aerodactyl, though, and if it's a Mega Aerodactyl, it can't outspeed it, so yeah. But that being said, it is still going to be going in the best. It is a stupidly strong Pokemon. The female counterpart is a special attacker, which means that it is going to probably fall in niche. Like, there are some use cases for it. It doesn't have like the higher attack stat, which means it can't use like Wave Crash and Liquidation, and most importantly, Last Respects to its full power. But it still can do like Surf stuff, which is pretty cool. Sneasler, that is going in the best. It is going in the best. And the reason for that is because it is the only Pokemon that really does what it does. Do I really want to put it in the best? I think I might put it in meta. I'll put Sneasler in meta. I think Sneasler should be in meta. And the reason for that, I'll put it above Garchomp, is because it's not broken. Sneasler is not a broken Pokemon. It's not like a Pokemon that dictates everything in the game in the same way that like everything above it does. But like, it is super good. It is bordering on being in S tier, but I think that like meta's fine. It's like a Fake Out user. It's fairly easy to deal with, but it does accomplish a lot of things on its team. It is typically the one responsible for picking up KOs on faster Pokemon in the metagame that aren't as bulky because this thing can outspeed everything after an Unburden boost. But yeah, I don't want to put it in the best just because I don't think it is as broken as these Pokemon. You could even make the case that Floette can come down, and I think I might make that case, but I don't want to. I think that it really should be up there. But yeah. Meowscarada, that is a niche pick. That is a counter meta sort of thing. That's anti-meta. It's mostly just Scarf right now to beat opposing Aerodactyls and Garchomps. And it can even one-shot Charizard Y if it gets a good roll, if you run Adamant with Triple Axle, since Protean gives it stab on ice moves. Skeleturge, forgot you were in the game. Definitely going to be difficult. Actually, maybe niche. I'll put it in niche just because I believe in him. Quaquaval, that is probably niche. It does get Ice Punch. That's what's going to determine it for me. Quaquaval, do you get Ice Punch? Ice Spinner. Okay, yeah, that's pretty good. That's better than Ice Punch. Yeah, we'll put you in niche. Palma, you're not in the game, are you? Are you in the game? No, you're not. Okay, that's weird. Not in the game. Mousehold, good Pokemon. Good Pokemon. I'm gonna put it in Strong, probably like towards the bottom of Strong. It doesn't see as much usage now that the metagame is sort of drifted away from Calm Mind setup Floette, but it's still a really good Pokemon, so it's not as niche as the other ones below it. Garganacl, that is pretty difficult to make a use for in this metagame. It's fine, it can do wide guard stuff, but like this meta is too fast for it to really enjoy anything, and like it can't Salt Cure as good as it used to. I'm pretty sure Salt Cure got nerfed this gen, or in this game. It used to be a lot stronger, but now it's like consistently like weaker. Yeah, 40 base power, 1/16. It used to be 1/8. It used to be 1/8 and then 1/4 on steel types, which is nuts. And I think they could have kept it that way. I don't know why they got rid of it. Armourouge is definitely niche. That is just a, that's just a guy. Ceruledge is also going to be going in niche. Belly Bolt is going in difficult. It really just doesn't accomplish much, but it could maybe do something. Scovelin. I'm going to put that one in Strong. Scovelin is strong. It's like bottom of Strong. It's not like the best Pokemon ever, but it does do pretty well consistently, where I don't think it's a niche pick anymore. Rage Powder and like burning everything allows for like broken Pokemon next to it to accomplish their jobs a lot easier. It does have like the option to Leech Seed stall things, but overall it's just like a really good Mega Pokemon. It's a little matchup dependent. You typically don't run it as your sole Mega Pokemon, but that's why I'm putting it in Strong. It's like an option that you run if you end up facing something that it's going to be doing good into. Espathra, that's going towards the higher end of niche just because we've seen it be a very solid anti-meta pick as of late. Speed Boost means that it's able to outspeed most Pokemon in the metagame, go for support moves like Rain Dance, Lumina Crash, deal a good amount of damage to Pokemon, and cut their special defense in half, allowing for a follow-up from partner Pokemon. But even then, we've seen Espathra do really good in the Grand Challenge or the Global Challenge, where it would run like a Calm Mind Baton Pass set. So, yeah. Tinkaton, that is also niche. It's just like a fake-out user on Parish teams. Palafin is strong, but not super strong. It's basically just an alternative to Basque Legion, and you tend to run it on Parish teams or anything with Gengar, just because it is it makes it so your team's not as weak to Kingambit, because if a Kingambit sees both a Gengar and a Basque Legion, it is having a field day. Orthworm is certainly niche, not super great, but it does allow a couple of archetypes to work. Same with Glamora and Mega Glamora. They are kind of just off meta picks to support other teams. It did pretty well in the Victory Road tournament. Yeah, we see it did pretty good next to like Garchomp and stuff. It's an interesting mon. It does have good damage output, but it's not like anything super special. Spiky Shield, Power Gem, Sludge Bomb, Earth Power. If you run it with like the right Pokemon, it's a good pick. Farigiraf. I'm gonna put Farigiraf in Strong, towards the bottom of Strong, and that's just because it is a Trick Room setter. I'll put Palafin below it, and we'll put these guys below it. It's a good Trick Room setter. It pairs well with a ton of Pokemon. It does have access to weather moves like Rain Dance and Sunny Day, and it is one of the few Psychic type Pokemon in the game that actually wants to run Psychic moves, and like can fit on your team. Psychic types want to run Psychic moves, but it's like one of the few Psychic types that can fit on a lot of teams, and I think that like if you're playing hard Trick Room, typically you want to go with this one. Kingambit, that is going in meta, possibly the best. I'm gonna put it. if Sneasler's here, Kingambit's going here. Kingambit is a phenomenal Pokemon. It is about on par with Chomp, maybe just a little bit below Chomp. But yeah, Kingambit, Defiant, Sucker Punch, just endgaming things, being able to knock things in range of Sucker Punch with your Rock Slides is like the whole deal with this Charizard and like Charizard and Aerodactyl archetype that we see running around right now. It just knocks things in range of like Basculegion and Kingambit, and that's like the whole bit with it. Kingambits are currently running Choppleberry and Low Kick to both counter each other, so that's really cool. It's just like one of the best Pokemon in the game. Its stats are ridiculous. It looks like a Mega Pokemon on paper. Yeah, I mean like 135 attack, 100 HP, 120 defense. That looks like a Mega Pokemon. A Mega Pokemon would have 100 special defense, and that's like the only difference. This thing has 550 BST. Yeah, it is a very good Pokemon. Sinistcha, that is going in strong. That is one of the better Trick Room and support Pokemon. Probably, I'm going to put it above Politoed. It's able to heal a bunch of Pokemon. It does really well next to Archaladon, which, speaking of which, Archaladon's going to be going in here. Archaladon, we're going to throw higher up on the strong tier, probably right above Pelipper. And that's just because Archaladon is a very difficult Pokemon to KO, especially next to Sableye, with Sableye setting screens and being able to disable and Encore Lock opposing Pokemon. Getting Rain Up for this thing means that it's able to boost its stats with Electroshot and just be a general nuisance. It is not a fun Pokemon to switch in on, and yeah, Archaladon is stupidly strong right now, but not like broken. I have not seen a single Hydrapple team. We'll put it in niche. And these two Pokemon aren't in the game. So yeah, I believe that's it. I believe I've ranked every Pokemon in the game. Don't think I really need to go back and adjust anything. I do feel like I got everything kind of right. You can sort of play with like, you know, Floette dropping down here, I think. And I think that's like the only thing that I could like make the argument for. But beyond that, yeah, that's my tier list. It's over an hour and a half long worth of this video, but yeah, let me know what you guys thought in the comment section below. If you enjoyed, leave a like, subscribe, turn on notifications, and I will see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.